If you're watching this, there's a good chance you already dress well. You put thought into your outfits. You know what works for your body and your lifestyle. But there's one thing that quietly undermines a great look more than almost anything else, and most women never even think about it. It's the bag, not the price of the bag, not the brand, the style of the bag. And today I'm going to show you 5 specific handbag styles that are working against everything else you've put together, and 5 that make women over 60 look genuinely polished and put together without trying hard at all. I'm not going to be vague. I'm naming real styles, real brands, and giving you the honest reason behind every single one. Welcome to Brand Meter World, where we test products, compare brands across every price point, and give you the straight verdict on what's actually worth your money. If that sounds like your kind of channel, subscribe right now and tap the bell. We have a full handbag brand comparison dropping next week, and you will want to see it. Now let's get into it. Let's start with the 5 styles that are quietly dating your look. And I want to say up front, this isn't about making you feel bad about bags you already own. It's about understanding what certain styles are communicating so you can make a more informed choice going forward. That's it. Dated bag number 1, the heavy logo Monogram bag. I want to be fair here because this one is more nuanced than people think. Logo bags aren't automatically a problem. A genuine vintage piece from the 90s, or a classic bag with a long personal history, those have their own authenticity. That's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about specifically is the heavily logo-printed bag bought in the last 5 to 7 years in the mid-range price tier. The Coach Signature Canvas Tote, the Michael Kors MK logo Crossbody, any bag where the brand's initials or print cover the entire surface. Here's the honest reality. The luxury market itself has shifted dramatically away from visible branding. What used to communicate "I can afford this" now communicates something closer to "I bought this to be seen buying it." And for a woman who has spent decades developing real personal style and a clear sense of who she is, handing that narrative over to a logo print is a step in the wrong direction. Now you'll still see logo bags out there and plenty of women wear them. But look carefully at the women who consistently photograph as elegant, whose style reads as current and intentional. They are almost universally carrying bags where you cannot identify the brand from across the room. That pattern is consistent enough to be worth paying attention to, even if you ultimately decide it doesn't apply to you. Dated bag number 2, the micro mini bag. This one feels counterintuitive because micro bags have been all over fashion media for the last several years, and yes, they look striking in a fashion editorial. But here's what nobody talks about honestly. The micro bag was never designed for real life. It's a fashion prop, not a functional accessory. For a woman living an actual full life, with a phone that's bigger than it was 10 years ago, a wallet, keys, possibly reading glasses, a few daily essentials, a bag you can barely fit 2 fingers into isn't just impractical. It reads as someone following a trend rather than living in their own personal style. And trend chasing ages a person far faster than any specific bag ever could. There's also a proportion issue. A bag that's smaller than your hand creates a visual imbalance against a confident, mature silhouette. Your bag should anchor your look or complement it, not disappear into it or create a distraction. The right bag for your life should feel like it belongs there. A micro bag for most women over 60 simply doesn't. Dated bag number 3, the cheap quilted chain bag. Now, I need to be upfront about something here because I'm going to say 2 things that might seem contradictory. Quilted bags can look dated, and quilted bags can look incredibly elegant. Both are true at the same time. The difference is entirely in the execution, and I'll show you the version that works in the second half of this video. What belongs in the dated category is a very specific version. The medium to large quilted bag with oversized gold or silver chain straps, chunky, oversized, diamond quilting, and construction that is clearly not real leather. You've seen these in department stores on Amazon from brands that are visually referencing Chanel without the price point or the quality to back it up. The problem isn't that they're borrowing from a luxury style. The problem is they land in a visual no man's land. They're not expensive enough to carry the weight of what they're referencing, and they're not different enough to stand on their own. The result is a bag that looks like a compromise rather than a choice. And the specific things that make this version dated, oversized chain hardware, chunky quilting scaled too large for the bag, visible bonded leather peeling at the seams, are all things you can spot immediately once you know what to look for. Dated bag number 4. The perfectly matched set. For a lot of women, matching the bag to the shoes was simply the rule. That was correct dressing. It showed care and coordination. And for a long time, it genuinely was the right approach. But fashion rules flip, and this one flipped hard somewhere in the late 90s. Today, a perfectly matched set. Same color, same material, same finish on bag and shoes, reads more as a costume than a personal style choice. It looks assembled rather than considered. And on formal or semi-formal occasions, exactly the moments when women over 60 are most visible, this is the choice most likely to make an otherwise excellent outfit feel like it belongs to a different era. Here's the practical shift, because stop matching by itself isn't useful advice. The move is from matching to relating. A warm brown bag with tan shoes and a cream blouse. Those three things share the same warm undertone without being identical. A deep burgundy bag with black shoes and a camel coat. The bag and coat are warm, the shoes ground the whole look. Nothing is identical, but everything belongs together. The test you can use right now: if you covered the shoes and just looked at the bag, does it look like an independent choice you'd make? Then cover the bag and look at the shoes, same question. If both pass, that's relating. That's the look you're going for. Dated bag number 5, the oversized shapeless tote. This is the most common offender, and also the most understandable one, because the oversized shapeless tote is genuinely useful. It holds everything. It's comfortable. It goes with almost anything. Those qualities are real, and they matter. The problem isn't the size. The problem is the shape, or the lack of it. A bag with no internal structure collapses under its own weight. The sides cave in, the bottom sags, the opening gapes, and what you end up carrying is a large, formless mass that hangs from your shoulder and visually works against you in two specific ways. First, it creates a horizontal mass at your hip that widens your silhouette. Second, a bag that's constantly losing its shape carries a subtle visual signal of being overwhelmed, of having more than you can manage. And that is the opposite of the effortless, put-together energy that genuine elegance communicates. The solution is not a tiny bag. We already covered why that doesn't work either. The solution is a structured bag in a practical size. One that holds what you need and still holds its shape, whether it's full or empty. That combination of practicality and structure is exactly what the second half of this video is about. Those are the 5. And before I show you the alternatives, I want to address something, because I know what some of you are thinking. You're thinking, I've carried some of these bags for years and nobody ever told me there was a problem. So is this real, or is this just fashion media making women feel bad about perfectly good bags? That's a fair question, and it deserves a straight answer. Nobody is going to walk up to you in a restaurant and say your bag is dating you. That's not how this works. What happens is subtler. It's the cumulative impression your whole look makes, and a bag sending the wrong signal quietly undermines everything else you've done right. You'll never know exactly what it cost you, but the flip side is equally true. The right bag quietly elevates everything around it, and you may not be able to point to exactly why your whole look worked that day, but the bag is part of the reason. You don't need to throw out everything and start over. Most women already have 1 or 2 bags in their current collection that fall into the elegant category. They just might not be reaching for them as the default. The goal here is awareness, not a wardrobe overhaul. Quick pause right here. If this kind of content is useful to you, specific, honest, no filler, that's exactly what we do every week on Brand Meter World. We test real products, compare budget versus premium brands, and give you an honest score on construction, durability, and value. Next week, we're testing 12 handbags, 6 under $100, 6 over $300, side by side on 5 quality metrics. The results are genuinely surprising. Subscribe now and tap the bell so you don't miss it when it drops. Now, the part you've been waiting for. Here's what ties all 5 of these elegant bags together before I break them down individually. Every one of them looks like someone made a decision. The shape is intentional. The hardware is proportionate. The material has visible quality even from a distance, and every single one works at a budget price point and at a luxury price point, because the principle behind what makes them work is exactly the same regardless of what you spend. One more thing before we get into the specifics. You don't need all 5 of these. 1 or 2 bags from this list in colors that work with what you already own is enough to change how your entire wardrobe reads. This is not about buying more, it's about buying smarter. Elegant bag number 1, the structured top handle bag. If there is one bag style that has never gone out of fashion and never will, it is the structured top handle bag. This is the bag that has appeared on the arms of the most consistently well-dressed women across every decade since the 1950s. And it remains the single most reliable signal of polished, intentional style today. Not because it's trendy, but because it never was trendy. It was always just right. What makes a top handle bag elegant is the structure. When you set it down, it holds its shape. When you pick it up, it holds its shape. It doesn't collapse, cave, or sag at the sides. The top handle, whether single or double, gives it a clean, architectural silhouette that reads as sophisticated from across a room. It is a bag that looks like it was chosen on purpose, which is the foundation of every elegant look. For specific options, and I want to give you real names here, not just categories. At the accessible end, Fossil's leather satchels in the $80 to $130 range are genuinely well made. The leather breaks in beautifully over time, the hardware is solid, and the construction holds up for years with minimal care. This is the kind of bag you buy once and carry for a decade. Also worth looking at is the Vera Bradley leather line, which has improved substantially in quality and now offers real leather structured pieces at accessible prices. At the mid-range, Polen from France makes some of the most elegant structured bags available at $250 to $400. If you haven't discovered that brand yet, look it up after this video. At the premium end, Strathbury from Scotland makes exceptional top handle bags at $400 to $600. The leather is beautiful, the proportions are generous enough to be genuinely practical, and the design is distinctive without being loud. Any of these in cognac black or deep navy will elevate even the simplest outfit without any effort at all. Elegant bag number 2, the Minimalist leather crossbody. Let me challenge a common misconception right away. Minimalist does not mean boring. Minimalist means confident. It means the bag doesn't need logos, embellishments, or decorative hardware to justify its presence, because the quality of the leather and the precision of the shape do all of that work on their own. The Minimalist leather crossbody is one of the most versatile bags a woman over 60 can own. It's hands-free, which matters practically. It sits at a flattering position on the body, and because it isn't competing with your outfit for attention, it makes you the focal point, which is exactly what a good accessory should do. For specific options, Quince makes a genuine Italian leather crossbody for around $50 to $70. The leather is real, the construction is clean, and the Minimalist design looks at home next to bags costing 5 times as much. The Madewell Transport Mini Crossbody at around $130 has a loyal following for very good reason. At the higher end, Kuyana's classic Zip Crossbody at around $175 is built around the concept of fewer, better things, which aligns perfectly with what elegant dressing actually means in practice. In camel, black, or deep burgundy, any of these transition from a casual morning to a dinner out without missing a beat. Elegant bag number 3, the refined bucket bag. I want to tell you why I particularly like this style for women over 60, and it's about more than just the look. The bucket bag has a relaxed quality to it that the structured top handle doesn't have. If the top handle bag says I have somewhere important to be, the bucket bag says I have interesting plans and I'm completely at ease about it. Both are elegant, but the bucket bag has a certain ease and confidence to it that's worth having in your rotation. The thing that separates a refined bucket bag from the shapeless tote I described earlier is the top. A well-designed bucket bag maintains a defined opening, through a drawstring, a structured ring, or a clear leather rim. The body holds its shape whether it's full or empty. That structure is the entire difference. At the accessible end, H&M's leather look bucket bags have quietly gotten very good. The shape retention and hardware quality at $40 to $60 is genuinely worth looking at. At the mid-range, Polen's Numero 1 has a following for good reason. The gathered leather, subtle ring hardware, and the way it holds its form make it a beautiful bag. And if that's outside your current budget, the principles of what makes it work, Defined opening, proportionate body, restrained hardware are fully replicable at a fraction of the cost. Elegant bag number 4, the classic quilted bag done right. Here's the callback I promised in part 1, because quilted bags absolutely belong in the elegant category when 4 specific things are done correctly. The first is leather quality. Genuine leather with visible grain holds quilting in a way that looks sculptural and intentional. Bonded leather or PU makes the same quilting look puffy and cheap. That single factor accounts for most of whether a quilted bag reads as elegant or dated. The second is quilting scale. Fine, smaller diamond or linear quilting reads as precise and considered. Oversized, chunky quilting reads as trying to be visible from a distance. If the individual diamond is large enough to fit your palm inside it, it's too big. The third is hardware proportion. Small, refined hardware, a subtle turn lock, a simple ring clasp, a delicate chain, elevates a quilted bag. Oversized brassy chains with hardware the size of your thumb work directly against the elegance of the quilted surface. The fourth is overall size. Quilted bags work best at small to medium proportions. A large quilted bag starts to feel like upholstered furniture rather than an accessory. For specific options, Karl Lagerfeld. Paris consistently delivers quilted bags that respect these principles at $80 to $150. The hardware is appropriate, the quilting is scaled correctly, and the leather quality is above average for that price point. At the premium end, the Chanel Classic Flap is the definitive version of this bag. And if that's not in the budget, the Bottega Veneta Cassette achieves an even more sophisticated result using interlocking woven leather rather than quilting. Elegant bag number 5, the understated woven or textured bag. This is the category I find most interesting for women over 60, and here's exactly why. A woven or textured bag communicates something that no logo and no brand name can buy: craft and individuality. It says you chose this because you appreciated how it was made, not because a brand told you to want it. Woven leather, raffia, embossed textures, croc embossed patterns, woven rattan with leather trim, all of these fall into this category. What they have in common is that the surface itself is the design. No embellishment needed, no logo, no decorative hardware. The bag is interesting because of the work that went into making it, and that communicates something about the person carrying it. This is also the bag style most likely to generate genuine compliments. Not, "Oh, is that a Gucci?" but "Where did you get that? It's beautiful." The first question is about the brand. The second question is about your taste, your eye, your choices. That distinction matters. For specific options, Zara has produced some excellent woven leather bags in recent seasons at $50 to $90. Target's A New Day line offers raffia and woven tote styles that, in the right colorway, look considerably more expensive than their price. At the premium end, Bottega Veneta's Intrecciato weave is one of the most recognized luxury patterns in fashion. And the extraordinary thing about it is that most people recognize it as beautiful before they recognize it as branded. That is the definition of elegant design. For color, woven and textured bags work best in neutral and earth tones: camel, tan, off-white, olive, warm brown. These allow the texture itself to read clearly rather than competing with a strong color. In these tones, a woven bag works across almost any outfit, any season, any occasion. Let me step back for a moment and show you the pattern that runs through all 10 of these bags, and because there is one, and it's worth naming clearly. Every single bag in the dated category has one thing in common: the design is doing the talking instead of the wearer. The logo is too loud, the imitation is too obvious, the matching is too deliberate. The shapelessness communicates something the wearer didn't intend to communicate. Every single bag in the elegant category has the opposite quality. The wearer is doing the talking, and the bag is supporting her. The structure is clean enough to complement without dominating. The quality is visible without being announced. The overall impression is of a woman who made a considered, confident choice, and then moved on because she has far more interesting things to think about than her accessories. That is what elegance actually is. It is not a price point. It is not a brand name. It is not a trend. It is the visual result of intention and confidence. And you can achieve it at $40 or $400, as long as you understand the principles behind it. That is what we do here at Brand Meter World every week. We take these principles and apply them to real products with real testing. We buy the budget option and the luxury option. We carry them, photograph them, put them through actual use, and give you an honest score on construction, durability, shape retention, and long-term value. Because you shouldn't have to spend $600 to look like you did, and you shouldn't have to guess. That's what this channel is for. Before you go, one question for the comments. Of the 5 dated bags we covered today, was there one that surprised you? One you genuinely didn't expect to see on that list? Drop it below. Not because there's anything wrong with owning it, but because those conversations help shape what we cover next. If you want a full quality test on any of these bag categories, budget versus premium, side by side with real scores, comment bag test and tell me which style you want first. The most requested one becomes the next video. Subscribe if you haven't yet. New videos every week. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one.